so this is a learning process for us too. So I had like some pictures that I wanted to like put on our screen, but I can't do it. So we'll just kind of run through this thing. It's probably easier that way anyhow. But thank you so much for being here, Nikki, on Bitchin Sauce Presents. We're big fans. I'm Ellie Edwards.
I'm Starr Edwards.
What kind of pictures were they?
It was mainly just stuff that it was kind of this whole deal. It was actually pretty cool, but it was mainly pictures of you because it's, you know, your show. But
we went through your Instagram and found all the pictures of you guys doing awesome stuff.
And we can't make it happen. I've been looking back there. I've been going really far back in my Instagram, writing my my wave because, well, to be honest, because somebody stole a bunch of my stuff from my house, and I had to track it all down. So I was going down memory lane / evidence collecting.
oh, yeah. Well, that sucks.
It's pretty wild, right? They were taking my clothes, which is like kind of interesting choice of whose clothes to take. So,
well, you have nice clothes.
You do.
Yeah, I do. They also are something I'm willing to fight over. So, but let's stick to the topic. I'm sorry to distract.
No,
that was one of our topics actually, because we saw that High Class Hillbilly just had its 10-year anniversary. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
Like, how does that feel, and what has it been like being an artist and then also having this other, pursuit with fashion and your awesome vintage shop?
Well, I'll start with when I was looking up Bitchin Sauce, because I had just saw it around at like our turnip truck, and so when we talked about doing this, I was like, oh yeah, I'll check it out. But then I actually got a hold of some, and Chipotle everything is my thing. So, but I was reading about your story, and it was like I believe this is right, you were becoming a mother, so you had to figure out how to like still hustle and have a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I wanted to be a musician. I think that's really tight, by the way. And you guys are really smart because you figured out something that can be in volume, like all over the place. Like I can tell my mom to get it and she can. That's so good. Because I chose vintage, which is a little tricky because there's only one. All these guys from social media marketing call me and they like try to argue with me about marketing our stuff. And I'm like, there's only one. Like, you know what I mean? Like that is, I know it's a dumb idea too, but it's like I can't get you hooked on the Bowie t-shirt because it's 38 inches chest, and that already like weeds out like so many people. So, but I needed something to make it to where I could play music. And so I got excited the other day because I made a nostalgia post and somebody said, you always said you'd have a brand. You never said you'd be a country singer or whatever. So that came later. I just kind of had this strong sense of like survival. And so I was living in LA and New York, and I was just digging into retail and digging into owning a brand and digging into what I thought was like missing in the industry. You know what I mean? Like, especially American made goods, because that's just my thing. And then I quit my job and became a country singer, which if you have a real job and then you become a country singer, it's kind of like when coronavirus hits, like there's just no money. And so I just had to get flexible. And that's what I've done all, for 10 years was like, navigating. We were talking about the other day, again, with this 10-year anniversary, that as I made these loops around the country, I had this one night at Dan's Silverleaf in Denton, Texas, where I sold $235 worth of fry boots and a pair of Wrangler vintage shorts, and I sold 3 CDs. So I did 30 in revenue from CDs and $235 and so that I just had to, I just did it. And I think $235 worth of people liked my music, but they just weren't buying it yet, So now I look at that 10-year, like, as like a history or like a lineage of how it's going, and I'm like, oh fuck, the next 10 are going to be great because the first 10 were built like climbing to the top. I'm staring at the floor because I have to have this camera flipped, and so you're down here on the floor. So I want to see you, but it's over there. So this is my technical difficulties, and I'm talking to you down here.
Yeah, that's very cool about your brand.
Way to hustle through.
Yeah, way to hustle through. And one of the pictures that we had was your first Instagram post from like 2011. And you're like you're on a Honda moped, I think, where we're into mopeds as well, so that was cool. I think that was for a music video or something. But
yeah,
there's such consistency for the last 10 years on your feed. The Nikki Lane thing hasn't changed at all, which is very cool. You have very clear concise. This is what I do, and it's your own little spot.
It's an upside to like starting late. You know, it's the good thing of being a late bloomer because I already had like a me. But then I look and I'm like, even when I was 15, like I had a me. And like, I've just been thinking a lot about how, especially in a weird time when people start to get really concerned about the way to go, it's like, just figure out what the fuck you do and do it. And then, cause like being a 25-year-old, like running my mouth about gonna be a country singer type chick, like, you know, just being a young adult and a young adult woman that like had a plan. People were like, cool, you know, and now 10 years later, they're like, oh, this bitch isn't going away. Like she's really, you know what I mean? It's like, you kind of start to really prove your worth and your determination. And then you have that, now we have that history, you know? And I got lucky because all my fans are like real fans. Like we've gotten them like loop by loop. And so they're not going anywhere. And so I'm glad that it's not fake, I guess.
Yeah, the 700,000 rednecks, right? Is
yeah.
I would say we're part of that 700,000. So
did you see the shirt? It says 1/700,000. It doesn't even have my name because it's just like if you know, you know.
That's great. That's awesome.
I'll send you one.
Let's talk about that, about being kind of a late bloomer. I was watching another interview where you said, you know, you dropped out of high school. We also dropped out of high school. And then, you know, you kind of just you're the CEO of Nikki Lane, essentially. And, you know, I had that Instagram picture of you where you worked for the radio show.
Buzzard Babes.
High school has worked out well for you. You know, looking back over the last 10 years, you know, what would you have told that young Nicole working at the radio in a halter top, you know?
Well, just that you're not fucking nuts, you know, in a small town, that was $50 an hour. So in a small town, that was fucking hustling. You know what I mean? I was just doing it. And so that's what I did when I moved. I think about it because I tell the story and then I think about it visually and it just makes me crack up. But I wanted a car. My granddad told us he'd give us a car for graduating, right? And so I wanted a BMW 318 Ti. Don't even ask me, but I had found it and it was like sporty and it was cool and it was in my price range and I wanted it. But then I dropped out of high school and my granddad was like, no. When my sister graduated, she got a convertible Mercedes. Okay. So
wow.
he really told me. But what he did right away was he had a girlfriend. She was driving like a 1998 Chevy Lumina. And he told her, give me that Lumina. And he bought her a convertible Beetle and he gave me the Lumina. And I was so mad because I told him I wanted to be in fashion and he was like, which honestly, like, because like that's my side job for a reason. It's hard. But I did what I know to do best and I put a trailer hitch on a Chevy Lumina and I got a U-Haul and I moved all the way to California. Like literally as fucking far as I could go. And I tell my mom, I'm like, for 3 years I called her and I was like, fucked up. Can I come home? And she was like, well, your room's a craft room now, so where are you gonna? And I was like, that's the best favor she ever did for me is say, nope, you cannot come home. Like, you better just get the fuck out.
So the Lumina, you got the Lumina, and then the rest is kind of history. Became.
It's a sense of determination. You know what I mean? Bobby Bear Jr., a musician, he used to take me on tour, and his dad is Bobby Bear, you know, a great country and like kind of classical music legend, right? And he goes, tour is a series of hurdles. Get rid of anybody who's tired of jumping. And first of all, when you hear that, you just get tired because you're like, oh my God, he's just telling you the truth. But second of all, you learn that it's like, you just do this until you're tired of jumping and then you quit. Because if you're doing it and you ain't jumping, you're losing, you know? And I don't like to lose, so.
Right. Well, yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit. You know, you're widely revered as the Highway Queen, First Lady of Outlaw Country. You know, great names. And I was in this other interview. You said, you know, you gave yourself that moniker, the Highway Queen, to kind of make it more doable on a nightly basis. You know, we tour around quite a bit, or we have toured around, not anymore, but. You know, and it's true. It is very tiring to be out there, even though you're driving 10 hours and playing an hour or an hour and a half. It gets exhausting. So how has it been, you know, to kind of the Highway queen's taking a rest for COVID. You know, you're laying low. Most people don't get this much time off the road until they retire.
Well, I said I got a dirt bike first thing because I said I did not have time to break my arm before.
Oh my God.
And but for real, first of all, I get it, right? Like that coming to that screeching halt from like being out there all the time. It was like the come down was like, I mean, I'm really good with staying distracted and I like to cook. There's things that like I don't get to do that I was like immediately like, oh, I do this now. And so I made a garden, and then like it's really hot in Texas, so like it all died. But I was like, next year, man, like now the garden bed is that, you know what I mean? I was like, we're good. You're just like rolling with it. But I think that before I played music for a living, there was this moment for me, right, where I was like creating and like no one gave a shit. You know what I mean? And that was like when I like did my best work. You know what I mean? And then I just like chased it. I tried to write while I was driving. Well, you know what I mean? It's like you just start living your job, and like it's not good or bad. It's just that's what you have to do now that it pays your bills. You know what I mean? And so this like is like 2020. Nobody gives a shit what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like it's like they're like you can go on tour next fall, and I have a lot of friends that are like, what are we gonna do? And I'm like, sell more t-shirts hopefully, but nobody cares what I'm up to. And now like I've like
hang on. I think that the people on this stream, you know, there's a lot of people checking in on what
sorry I don't mean it as a negative. I mean that
no,
like
I mean it's very it's cool that you know think that, but there's a lot of people on here who are, you know, it's nice to get a check-in from someone who all these people would have come to your shows, you know, and are obviously part of the 700,000 out there. So
yeah, no, don't get me wrong. This is my crew. I just mean that the pressure to like turn in a record went away.
Yeah.
And when the pressure to turn in, like when people stopped telling me about like a timeline to get everybody back out, I was like, oh yeah, now I can write. Like, you know what I mean? It's like all of a sudden it just unlocked that like I have a minute. And that's where like when I started doing my Sunday night, which was hard to commit like to a weekly thing in this time period, but that's where a lot of my fans and I think started to get even more close because we see each other 3 times a year. And so that's when I really started to realize like who was kind of like always there. But I also like they're willing to be patient. They're willing to hear the new songs acoustically 6 times. It's like everything else that puts the expectation on like creating new material. And like for me, which I guess you do with music and with Bitchin Sauce, there's just more than one way for me to feel creatively like gratified, and I really need time to do all of it to want to come back and then like play half new songs tonight because I've got them.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, that's fun. Thanks for sharing some of your time with us. We really appreciate that.
Oh my God, I was excited.
Yeah. So Jay was over. He dropped off a package at your house the other day, and he said you were hammering and drilling. What were you working on?
Oh my God, I thought he was Josh, my tour manager, and so I flung the door open, and then I was like scared, even though I told him what time was good. First of all, thank you. I love my care package. Now that I've got all these work tapes for the new record, I've needed another one of those JBLs that you guys got custom made. And now I'm like dragging around the house listening. But I was caught off guard because let's see, I think both the walls, I made a mistake, right? And I don't save numbers. And so I bought new faucets for the bathroom because I thought it was really like a fatal injury, but it was really just, I could have repaired a stem, but I bought all new things, right? So the guy comes over, he texts me, he's like, I can come over tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And I think it's the plumber, and I'm like, perfect, no problem. And so at 9 a.m., somebody knocks on the door. It's like a totally different guy, and it's the wallpaper guy. So I'm like, immediately, I bought all this wallpaper on eBay during the quarantine. And this awesome dude from the country's like rolled in to like lay this wallpaper in the living room, and it's not the plumber. And so I'm like getting him set up, and then the plumber knocks on the door. And I'm like, there's not enough space to do this properly, but we did our best. And then I got a wallpaper and faucet, and everybody was safe, and it was great. But then Jay knocked on the door, and I didn't know if it was you guys. I was like, is this yours? Like, you can't come in here. There's too many people per square feet. But I love it. That I thought, like, you know, I was like, oh, are you like a rep? And it's your brother or Starr's brother?
Yeah.
No, it's my brother.
And that's the way we gotta do it. It's like you gotta have like a real network. I heard my mom's making comments on here.
Is she? What's her handle?
Brady Cat 2.
Okay, I don't see him on
Brady
my
Cat 2. I don't know what it means.
So do you work with your mom? Is she like your manager? That's our mom was our manager for a while.
Oh my gosh. My mom is HR, and she's tough cookie too, so but she was HR for many years now.
Wow.
Oh yeah, she'd fire almost everybody at the drop of a hat. She knows who to keep. But she's so funny. But my mom's HR, but she's funny because once she's like retired, when we would go on tour, she'd just tell me when she was coming. And so, we had talked about smoking pot, while watching Walk the Line. My mom confronted me about pot and it went really bad. And so I told her, when she wanted to come on tour with me, well, Mom, there's joints in the van. And she was like, I'm not looking at you. And then she came. We picked her up and she went on tour with us. And so she runs my Stagecoach booth.
Oh, cool.
And like, if you guys ever come out and do Stagecoach with us, she'll come up. She'll just be chumming it up with you. She'll be like, they gave me the the chocolate sauce. That's what Mom wants. Just mail her the chocolate sauce. She'll like.
We got some. We'll send it.
She'll make a bathtub of that shit. So.
All right, Nikki. Well, thanks so much for hanging out with us today. It's been a pleasure, and have a great show.
Yeah, thanks so much for chatting with us and for doing this. Really appreciate it.
Can you tell me, because there's my people on here too, where can we get Bitchin sauce?
Oh yeah.
Everywhere?
Bitchin sauce is, let's see, Whole Foods, Albertsons. We're nationwide and
it's every state, huh?
Every single state. Yep.
Mom, go to Whole Foods and get the chocolate sauce.
Yep.
We'll send some to Mama's
Mama
way.
Nikki.
Yeah, we'll put our people will be in touch. So
I was thinking if you could make me like a limited edition sauce, like Nikki keeps bitchin' sauce.
We've had a couple requests for that. We'll send you some.
Nikki's always bitchin'.
What the flavor be?
Well, I love Chipotle, so that's gonna be a tricky one for me. But there's a are you in LA?
We're based out of Carlsbad.
Okay, in LA there was this restaurant called Malo, and they made a habanero cream with a little bit of citrus.
That sounds good.
Okay, good. Nikki's always bitching.
He's always bitching. All right.
Nikki's
I don't know. I'm just making this shit up.
Stay tuned for the Nikki's Always Bitchin'. Coming soon to a Circle K or 7-Eleven this coming spring.
Please.
All right, Nikki, have a great show. Break a leg.
Thank you so much. I'll see you guys soon.
All right, cheers.
Well, it's hard to be apart, spending miles in between, laying here in the dark. Are you thinking of me out there in the west? Darling, I swear I love you best. But I'm gonna set the sun your way, wake you up with a dough full of love lasts, keep it right. Never be lonely, 'cause I love you only. If we can make it just to the night, then I'm gonna set the sun your way, wake you up with a dog for the golden race. Don't you ride, don't let the darkness get you down. Don't you ride, don't let the darkness get you down. Well, now I've got the tuner off. Welcome to my house. Josh, maybe you can point the camera down a little bit. Maybe not quite all the way to the fuzzy slippers. Oh, they're pretty close. You might have to get them. Oh, you can see them. Goodness gracious. Well, I got mostly dressed, and then as I was leaving, I was like, do I put on boots, or do I just wear these fuzzy slippers? And I'm just sticking them out. So don't judge me, or do judge me. I don't give a shit. I'm wearing this suit tonight that was gifted to me. It's not really gifted to me, it's complex, but basically there's this amazing dealer online called Shop from the Past, our friend Jen in Salt Lake City, and she deals in old Western wear. And at the beginning of coronavirus, as you might know, everything got canceled, and so I wasn't allowed to buy this suit. And so one of my best friends, Miss Holly, bought this suit and sent it to my house. So I got to buy it from her, but so far it just sat in the closet. But I was like, my God, if there isn't going to be a show this year, I'm going to wear this suit right in the living room with my slippers on. So this song's called Highway Queen. You know all about it, but I was trying to look at my request list and do what you actually want me to do. So that's what I'm going to do. Well, I heard tell of a woman out there, tight blue jeans and long black hair. She'll come to play, she won't stay, and it always brings them down. Some folks say there'll come a day when she'll settle in some old town. But it's best you know that it's a long, long road, she ain't gonna come around. 60,000 miles blacktop, countless broken hearts between. Winding lines of white, don't stop, living the life of the highway queen. She's a siren, leaves you pining, holds your heart like a melody. You can tie her down, you can bottle Latin, but the highway queen don't need no king. Well, 102, they might have broken through, they might have nearly roped in. But a fire like that is far too wild, it's gonna burn and burn again. Well, seasons fade, so does the paint, both away like a tumbleweed. You can't blame a girl for loving this whole world, she can't help it, she's a highway queen. 60,000 miles blacktop, countless broken hearts between. Winding lines of white, don't stop, living the life of the highway queen. She's a siren, leaves you pining, haunts your mind like a melody. You can tie her down, you can bottle Latin, but the highway queen don't need no king. Highway queen don't need no king. Well, miles and miles she keeps on rolling. Sound of slow. It ain't who she loves, it's who she's holding. 60,000 miles blacktop, countless broken hearts between winding lines of white that don't stop, living the life of a highway queen. She's a siren, leaves pining, haunts your mind like a melody. Highway queen don't need no king. Highway queen don't need no king. Well, miles and miles she keeps on the road. Place your bets if you ain't bold. Miles and miles, no sign of slow. It ain't who she loves, it's who she's holding. It's a Waylon Jennings song. It's called Ride Me Down Easy. I'm playing it for my friend Chris Ennis. This highway, she's hotter than 9 kinds of hell. The rides there are scarce as the rain. When you're down to your last show, nothing to see, and you're too far away from the train. Spent a good month of Sundays and a guitar to go. Had a tall drink of yesterday's wine. Left a lot of good friends, some sheets in the wind. I'm satisfied when I'm behind. Ride me down easy, Lord, ride me on down. Leave word in the dust where I lay. Say I'm easy come, easy go, and easy to love when I stay. There's snow on the mountain, raised hell on the hill. I locked horns with the devil himself. Been a rodeo bum, a son of a gun, and a hobo with stars in his crown. Ride me down easy, Lord, ride me on down. Leave word in the dust where I lay. Say I'm easy come, easy go, and easy to love when I stay. Ride me down easy, Lord, ride me on down. Leave word in the dust where I lay. Say I'm easy come, easy go, and easy to love when I stay. Well, so as I was saying, and by the way, truly did not mean to insinuate that I think that people don't care right now. I just feel this sense of an opportunity to redetermine what I like about being on the road and what I like about writing songs and the songs that are important. And I'm so excited about this next record because I feel like it's the most reflective I've ever been. I was working my way up and learning each record, and now I feel like I'm at a spot where I can kind of look back at those 10 years of playing music and doing things my way. You know, oh man, I wish I was trying to learn how to play it for you today, but I think I'm going to call the record Denim and Diamonds. And I got really excited about just that moment when I quit my last job, and I still go in there sometimes, and I love them. They're great, but my God, it felt good to get out of there. You know what I mean? It's just, and so I wrote a song about denim and diamonds. I can buy that shit for myself in the first place. But I started working on this record, and it started with Try a Little Harder, which I'll do in just a second. But really, even before that, early on my first tours in Europe, I was crying in the tub at night a couple times. I was fucking tired. 26 shows in 28 days and no tour manager. We're just driving around in circles. And I'd be so tired, like what we were talking about. You know, you drive all day and then you play and then you talk, and you really want to talk even if you couldn't speak the language of wherever you were, because everybody's just excited. You're never over there. And then I'd get home and I'd just be worn out. And I was thinking about that principle. My granddad was my prize person. And I started thinking about how sometimes I can't do it well enough, but if I can do it good enough for him, you know, and just picking those people in your life that if I could just do it good enough for them, I don't really give a shit about anything else. That's what I'm trying to do. And so I realized I was writing one of the prettiest love songs or most dedicated songs I could ever write, and it's taken years, especially because I had gotten it in my head a certain way, but I recorded it on my little phone the other night to put on this new record, and I'm going to try to play it for you, but this will be the first time, probably playing it all the way through. But it's called Good Enough. Patience is a virtue, battered up and beaten by the road that horses travel. I've grown so hard my rope has come unraveled in the rain. Sometimes I get so tired I don't know if I'll get home again. Cecil was the first man to ever teach me patience was in the palm of my hand. He said, girl, work hard and be good to your man, and you'll find love in all that glitters. Sometimes as tiny as a splinter. As long as I can be good enough for you, that's good enough for me. Until the end of time, darling, won't you say you will always be mine? And if I start to stumble as I make my way back to your arms, I'll remember how you showed me our love was written out amongst the stars. Then you're never too far, so I'll try to show you patience, even when the whole wide world goes crazy. Even when I get so mad I just can't take it. Sometimes it's hard to shake it, but I made you a promise, and I swear that I won't break it. As long as I can be good enough for you, that's good enough for me. Until the end of time, darling, won't you say you will always be mine? And if I start to stumble as I make my way back to your arms, I'll remember how you told me our love was written out amongst the stars. Then you're never too far. It's a beautiful morning That's patience, love, and kindness. All of those things that we hold on to remind us of all the love and the trust we have inside us, so that evil can't divide us. Shit. As long as I can be good enough for you, it's good enough for me. As long as I can be good enough for you, it's good enough for me. As long as I can be good enough for you, it's good enough for me. Well, that feels about as good as I could want it to after a first try. Sweet sentiment. Counterintuitive. Reuse the word patience way more times than anybody would let me in a co-write, so that's why I did it. I was telling you that the cornerstone of the record, to me, I have to have a moment where I decide that all else will be fine that follows. And I listen to a lot of Nick Lowe, and I don't know that anybody can tell, but I feel like I can sure as hell tell when I hear this song called Try a Little Harder. It's about that pursuit, right? It's about deciding that no matter what life throws you, you're gonna be all right. And so if you have a hard time reminding yourself that, sometimes you'll be able to lean on this one soon. I used to think that it was all in my head, like some kind of condition from a book that I read. I couldn't take much more than I'd been through, so I called up the doctor. I said, what should I do? He told me, sometimes you gotta try a little harder, try a little harder to get what you want. Keep singing. Sometimes you gotta try a little harder, push a little farther just to make it on your own. I woke up to some bad news today, just when I thought that things were finally going my way. But my car won't start and I got piles of bills to pay. When life gets you down, well, you know what they say, keep singing. Sometimes you gotta try a little harder, try a little harder to get what you want, keep singing. Sometimes you gotta try a little harder, push a little farther just to make it on your own. One of these days you're gonna wake up and find yourself wondering if you done right or should have done something else. That's the price you pay. Thinking back to where it all began, at the edge of the world with my toes in the sand. I cried out, Daddy, what if I can't swim? Said you'll never know if you don't dive it. Keep singing. Sometimes you gotta try a little harder, try a little harder to get what you want. Keep singing. Sometimes you gotta try a little harder, push a little farther just to make it on your own. Sometimes you gotta try a little harder, try a little harder to get what you want. Keep singing. Sometimes you gotta try a little harder, push a little farther just to make it on your own. On your own. On your own. Oh, yippee-ki-yay! gonna make me stop. Well, I travel around from town to town. I do the best I can every day. I drive long hours and I don't get to shower, and I ain't gonna brag about it. No, I ain't gonna brag about it. 700,000 rednecks, that's what it takes to get to the top. 700,000 rednecks, no, there ain't no gonna make me stop. I get tired of working my fingers to the bone. I get tired of working every day. But the people that tell me that they wanna hear me song, they tell me they wanna see me play. Now tell me, do you wanna see me play? Doesn't matter how many times I play this song by myself, I always forget that I tell a lead guitarist to play right here. $700,000 rednecks, that's what it takes to get to the top. 700,000 rednecks, no, there ain't no one gonna make me stop. There ain't no one gonna make me stop. Oh, yippee-ki-yay! I'm going all the way. 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 Oh, yippee-ki-yay! Well, to everybody that's watching, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Thank you to Starr in LA for having me. And I'm not even joking. It's a shameless plug, but I think this bitchin sauce is incredible because at first, like I said, I was a very motivated cooker at the beginning of this, but now I'm realizing that I have to eat 3 meals a day, and that's a lot. So I've been finding lots of great ways to make snacks. Josh, how often do we almost pass out? Once a week?
Once a day.
Once a day? Don't say that. It gets hard when you're working, you forget. But I'm going to play y'all one more song. Man, I'm just kicking all by my lonesome. If that's a problem, well, you can't say shit. Oh my God. That's the funniest thing I ever said. You can't say shit either, Josh. Josh is here with me, my tour manager. He's over there. He's done so many jobs that are not tour related this year because there's no tour. But I'm going to end this show with a song called First High. My label was telling me people that I should write with for the year, and I was open. I was receptive, but I was also skeptical. Skeptical. No, it doesn't work. Not, sometimes they fall flat, Josh. And and I was introduced to this guy, Gabe Simon, which coincidentally is from my hometown. And we were so excited. We were talking about this great honky tonk we used to get dropped off by our parents when we were kids called Scuffletown. And we were excited we were going to throw like a record release show there, and it's now a retirement home. So dreams are crushed. But I was talking about this moment, the first time I ever got stoned, and I could just, I really locked into what this stuff is for. But truly though, it was just those moments, those first highs, those first kisses, those first concerts, the first punk rock show I ever snuck out and went to. It was pop punk. I'm a little young, but let's stick with it. But those moments, they cannot be recreated. You gotta just keep searching other things to do for a first time. So this is hopefully the last time I make that intro so long to First High. But thank you so much for spending your evening with us, and I'll see you again real soon, I think. I got a car and it takes on lane. I know a place with a tab on credit, so I fill the tank and get some quotes from my friends. Lord, it's good to be back home again. It feels crazy running down these roads when I see the streets side. My mind always goes back to the old days of '94. They don't make them like that anymore. Oh, take me back to the first dream. 501 blue jeans, hotter than goddamn Springsteen. Take me back to the first night, back to the first high. And I knew my heart was pure rock and roll. I've been searching for the first high. I tried cheering for the Wolverine, took the shot at being pageant queen, but I wound up hanging with the punks at the park. Somebody asked me if I had a spark. I played it cool, but I was unsteady.